Since most of our project is powering a motor, we're going to need a motor driver, and that's what this is called. This big piece here is the heat sink. It makes it so that this doesn't get too hot. Although I think if you keep building with robotics, you'll find that increasing the amount of heat that's being dissipated is going to be really important. But what we're mainly going to use is these places for inputs and these places for outputs. And so it's really small, but what's written here is ENAA and ENNB. And that's going to allow us to do pulse width modulation. And so pulse width modulation means that we send in power at 100% for a certain percentage of the time and 0% of the power in at some of the time. And so if we wanted to have 75% power instead of sending 75% of the electricity, we're going to send all the electricity 75% of the time. And it's going to pulse. It's going to send it all, then none, then all, then none, all for 75%, and then none for 25%. And that's what these two pins allow us to do. These are named N1, N2, N3, and 4. We're going to be using those to input control information from the Arduino Uno. We have a ground in the middle here. This grounds both systems. So we're able to put in our 5-volt power in right here, and that's going to be our control information from the Arduino Uno. We're able to put in our 12-volt power right here, which comes from our power source and is actually the electricity that's able to move the motors. Those motors get connected here and here, and we're just going to connect one momentarily. But when we connect a motor, we have a complete circuit by having an in and an out. And it's called out 1 and out 2, so the power goes out of 1 and comes back in through 2, and in between it goes through our motor and makes it spin. In order to allow maximum power, we have to pull out this pin, and this pin allows us to have a whole different functioning of the motor driver, and once we do it, it'll work that way forever. And if you're coming to this video because something's not working, this is a pretty good suspect that we got to remove this black piece so that the motor driver functions at full capacity. Similarly, to use the pulse width modulation, we have to pull off those black pieces on either side, and this is what exposes fully pins ENA and ENB.